From the Millersville University Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kyle Elliott here with the medium range forecast and video discussion issued on Tuesday, December 9th. Well, it certainly has been an unseasonably cold start to December here in the lower Susquehanna Valley, but other than the December 2nd winter weather event, there really hasn't been much in terms of snowfall. Systems have missed us to the south across southern Maryland and Virginia, and also to the north across parts of northern PA and southern New York. But here in southeastern PA, we really have been spared from the worst of the winter weather. And that looks to continue over the next 7 days. So without further ado, let me jump right on into things here and take a look at the Canadian model for 1 p.m. on Friday. And the real reason behind this unseasonably cold pattern that we've been dealing with stems to this upper level ridge in the jet stream, this northward bulge in the jet stream over the western United States. And we've been dealing with this compensating trough or dip in the jet stream over the central and eastern parts of the nation. And this overall pattern does look to continue over the next week. So when the jet stream sets up like this, we typically have this persistent northwesterly flow from Canada into the mid-Atlantic and northeastern United States. And that northwesterly flow is what delivers those shots of Arctic air into the region. Now, the issue with that is that because the flow is out of Canada, there's really no source of moisture to tap into. So what we're left with are these cold and dry patterns when we have this broad upper level northwesterly flow out of Canada and into the northeastern U.S. There's really no way to tap in to the southern branch of the jet stream. That looks to continue again over the next 7 days. So there are only two real systems that I'm keeping an eye on, one on Friday night and another on Saturday night into Sunday morning, the first of which you can see here on the Canadian model over the Tennessee and lower Ohio river valleys on Friday afternoon. The European is in good agreement with the Canadian, showing that system over the central Appalachians and eastern Ohio Valley. So these are going to be clipper type systems. These clipper type systems are usually weak, fast moving systems, and these cases are going to be no exception late this week and into the upcoming weekend. So the issue with these systems is, number one, they're starved for moisture. Number two, they're moving along very quickly. And number three, they're just rather small in nature. So what you're left with are these very narrow swaths of accumulating snow. So they're essentially going to have to take the perfect track to produce snow here in the lower Susquehanna Valley and southeastern PA. If their track shifts at all one way or another, then we're going to be left with either a dry outcome or just some rain showers if they track too far to our north. At this time, it looks like the system on Friday is going to track too far to our south and west to bring any snow here on Friday night. So again, these systems are subject to change over the next 24 to 72 hours, specifically their track. So just stay tuned to @MU Weather on Twitter for updates. As we move forward then into Saturday, it does look like Saturday is going to be a dry and relatively seasonable day. Temperatures will be a few degrees below average Saturday afternoon, but really not all that bad, especially compared to what we're dealing with out there today. It looks like highs on Saturday will generally be in the mid to upper 30s under partly to mostly cloudy skies. But what you'll notice both on the Canadian and the European model is this second more intense clipper system that's going to be bringing a swath of accumulating snow to the Midwest on Saturday. Where it tracks from there is very much uncertain at this point. The overnight run of the Canadian or the overnight run of the Euro and this afternoon's run of the Canadian both suggest that the actual low pressure system tracked just to our north. So with clipper systems, in order to get accumulating snow, they need to track directly overhead or just to your south. If this storm track is correct, then we would be left with a simple cold frontal passage Saturday night into Sunday morning with just a few rain and snow showers. Any wet snowflakes would likely mix in north of the turnpike. Again, this storm track is very much subject to change over the next 3 to 4 days. If the track shifts south, 50 to 100 miles, then we could be dealing with a coating to 3 inches of snow during that time. If it shifts farther north, we'd just be left with a hit or miss shower or two and a generic cold frontal passage on Sunday morning. But either way you slice it, behind this clipper system, we are going to deal with another shot of Arctic air Sunday into early next week. So Sunday looks like an absolutely miserable day. Whether or not there's any rain or snow showers around Sunday morning, by the afternoon hours, we're going to be dealing with howling northwesterly winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour. It wouldn't even surprise me if they gust up to 45 miles per hour at times on Sunday. You'll notice how tightly packed these dark black lines or isobars are over the state. So isobars are lines of mean sea level pressure. The more tightly packed they are over a region indicates that the pressure is rapidly changing over that region. So the more quickly the pressure changes in a short amount of distance, the stronger the winds are going to be. So as a result, I do expect gusts up to 45 miles per hour on Sunday to accompany highs in the upper 20s to low 30s. So wind chills will only be in the teens on Sunday. So you'll definitely want to dress in layers and bundle up before heading out the door to Sunday morning church services. That cold shot is going to linger into Monday. Now, the Canadians suggest a high-pressure system does move right over the region Monday afternoon. If that is the case, then winds would subside and it would just be another unseasonably cold day. If the Euro's right, you'll notice there's still pretty tight pressure gradient or change in pressure over the state. So with that being said, Monday would turn out to be another windy and unseasonably cold day with wind chills once again in the teens and 20s. So regardless, this doesn't look like dangerous cold per se, but you're definitely going to want to dress in layers and keep that winter coat and gloves handy as we move into the second half of the weekend and early next week. So taking a look at the forecast, cold on Friday with a mix of clouds and sun, high 34. Mostly cloudy and chilly Saturday, high 36. And again, we'll be monitoring that Saturday night into Sunday morning period for the potential for a small light snow event, depending on the exact storm track. But as we move forward then into Sunday afternoon, variably cloudy, blustery, and unseasonably cold, high 32, and similar conditions on Monday, partly to mostly cloudy and unseasonably cold with highs in the upper 20s to low 30s. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Medium Range Forecast. I will be cutting both the short and medium range videos on Monday over the winter break, so tune back next Monday for the latest editions. Until then, bundle up and stay warm out there over the weekend.